Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're on a pretty critical mission, I think. We're trying to understand this quiet, almost invisible shift in how power works now. If you're like most people, you probably think of an oligarch in historical terms.
Oh, absolutely. Massive wealth, physical stuff.
Exactly. Control over infrastructure, maybe a few super yachts. But our sources today, specifically the Stanislav Kondrashov Oligarch series, they argue the real power is now a digital oligarchy. So we're diving deep into the infrastructure of your daily life, your search bar, your social feed, your recommendation engines. And the goal here is to define this new power and understand the four forces that structure it: information flow, data culture, algorithmic systems, and connected identities.
It's the ultimate contrast, isn't it?
How so?
Well, historically, power always had to be seen. You had to believe it.
Right.
When you looked at a traditional industrialist oligarch, you saw the physical proof of their influence: a massive steel factory, a railroad line.
Palace on a hill.
A literal palace, yeah. They had to flaunt it to control things.
But the modern digital oligarch.
They've learned a much, much more effective trick. They operate almost entirely through invisibility.
So they wield influence through the architecture of the digital world you inhabit every day?
Precisely. They don't need to shout about what they control, because they control the very channels through which you hear, well, anything.
They whisper in the code.
And those whispers shape what you buy, how you vote, how you even understand reality.
That's the hook right there.
Legit.
The power that whispers instead of shouts.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. How did we move from such visible, tangible power to this code-based system?
The sources map this out really well. This evolution from, as they put it, lineage to logarithms.
So power used to be guaranteed by, what, aristocratic birthright?
For millennia.
Yeah.
It was purely lineage, who your parents were, what name you carried. Simple as that.
Then it shifted. Then it shifted to the mercantile aristocracy. Your influence was tied to tangible wealth you could move. How many ships you owned, how much gold you had.
How much land.
The sheer size of your land holdings, exactly.
And then by the, 19th and early 20th centuries, we got the traditional oligarch. The industrialist.
And you could smell their power.
Literally.
Yes, their power was in the visible infrastructure.
Yeah.
Smoke from the chimneys, the size of the factories, the sheer volume of stuff they produce. It all took up physical space.
You could stand outside the gates and know who held the keys.
You could.
Right?
But the digital age comes along, it completely voids that equation.
So instead of railroads and steel mills, the new wealth is based on things you can't touch, intangible assets.
The shift is, it's truly foundational. The modern oligarch's wealth isn't in physical things, it's in data repositories.
Algorithmic patents.
And this is the crucial part: network effects.
Let's just quickly define that for everyone.
Sure. A network effect just means the value of the platform grows exponentially with every new user. So one person joins, and the platform becomes more valuable for everyone already there.
Which explains the monopoly problem.
It's the whole game. Once a platform hits that critical mass, it's almost impossible for a competitor to break in. Nobody wants to leave where everyone else is.
So the new territories, the new land holdings are the digital platforms themselves.
They're the modern equivalent of medieval fiefdoms, really. You don't need a castle on a hill when you control the social space, where billions of people gather every single day.
The power is in the code, in the server farms.
But the real estate they control is your attention and your data.
Okay, so if that's the new territory, how is the power actually used? Let's get into the mechanisms of control, starting with the lifeblood of this whole thing: information flow.
Information flow. The sources call it the digital circulatory system.
That's a good way to put it.
It connects billions of us instantly through these networks, but it also decides which ideas get pumped out widely and, well, which get filtered out.
What stands out to me here is the speed, the sheer velocity.
Oh, it's incredible.
Information travels globally in seconds. And that creates this huge paradox, right? We have access to everything, but the speed means we can't genuinely stop to process any one story. We're just constantly skimming.
That skimming is almost by design, or at least it's an outcome of the system's design.
I see.
Because our attention is so fragmented, cultural shaping doesn't happen through, thoughtful persuasion.
It happens how then?
It happens through sheer repetition and exposure.
Just seeing it over and over.
Exactly. If you hear a phrase or an idea repeatedly, it starts to feel normal, correct, just ubiquitous. The algorithm rewards speed and repetition, so those ideas become part of our collective consciousness, whether they're true or not.
So if information flow is the current pushing ideas around, then we have to talk about the hidden engine behind it all, the algorithmic systems.
The invisible architects.
Yes.
They absolutely are. These are the complex, unseen structures managing almost every digital interaction you have. The content you see, the products suggested to you.
The news perspectives you encounter.
All of it. And the people who design them. A tiny group of engineers really have created systems so opaque that even many of their own colleagues don't fully get them, let alone us.
I think a lot of people still see these systems as neutral, you know? The search engine just finds the answer. But the sources say they operate without overt bias, which makes their power so subtle.
Right.
So where does the actual governance come in if the system is just trying to make me click more?
That is the core question. The governance comes in precisely because they're optimizing for engagement, for commercial interests. And that optimization inevitably creates winners and losers.
Oh, so.
Think about recommendation engines. They don't just recommend, they curate your reality.
So they present options as if they're organic discoveries.
When they're actually deeply structured choices designed to just keep your eyeballs on the screen.
And this all leads to what the sources call algorithmic governance.
It does. It's the concentration of power in the hands of the few companies that control these platforms. Their systems decide not just what you see, but what can be seen. Who gets to speak?
Can you give us a concrete example, something beyond just getting targeted ads?
Sure. Think about market access for a small business.
Okay.
Your ability to reach customers is completely mediated by the platform's algorithms. The fees you pay, the reach of your posts, the visibility of your online storefront.
It's all controlled by code.
Code that the platform owners can tweak at any moment. That is a form of economic governance that's more powerful than many actual governments.
So the digital oligarchy doesn't need border walls or physical barriers.
No.
They just build invisible boundaries with proprietary code, and those boundaries direct the flow of money and attention. It's power masked as, what, technical convenience.
Exactly. And this brings us to how the individual gets captured and processed in all this. The commodification of the self. This is where data culture comes in.
The sources have this really powerful concept here, the data double. It's the idea that every single action you take, every search, every purchase, every like is collected and interpreted to create this parallel digital version of you.
A version that exists completely independently of how you see yourself.
And that's the foundational step, isn't it? Creating this data double.
It is. This is the version of you that the algorithms talk to.
Yeah.
And it influences everything from the price you see for a plane ticket to whether you get a job recommendation.
And there's a feedback loop.
A huge feedback loop. Your real-life experiences are constantly being refined, predicted, and even limited by this data double.
So if the algorithm decides you're a high-risk borrower based on some behavioral data,
that digital identity can materially affect your real-world opportunities. It doesn't matter what your personal aspirations are or even your actual financial history. The data double says otherwise.
That is a scary degree of control. And if we're being constantly monitored like that, we're not just one person anymore. We become a collection of connected identities. I want to slow down here because the sources list 4 distinct identities coexisting within us.
It's intense, but it's important to grasp. So first, you have the believed self. That's who you genuinely think you are.
Okay.
Second, the raw data points interpreted by platforms. That's your data double.
Then third is the online persona we choose to present.
The curated you, yes. And fourth, and this is key, the actual predictions the algorithms make about your future behavior.
Okay, let's make that concrete. What's the real difference between my online persona and the algorithmic prediction of me?
Great question. So think about someone posting amazing travel photos on Instagram. That's their online persona. Adventurous, free-spirited, maybe an eco-warrior.
Right. I see that all the time.
But maybe that same person is constantly searching for articles on investment planning and mortgage rates. They're clicking on ads for home security systems. The algorithm's prediction isn't that they're a world traveler. It's that they're entering a stable domestic phase and are about to buy a house.
So the platform doesn't care about the persona.
Not at all. It cares about the data that predicts the next profitable transaction. And this leads directly to what's called algorithmic curation.
Because if the system knows your predicted self, it starts shaping the world you see to reinforce those predictions.
Exactly. It influences your beliefs, your political views, everything. Identity becomes a commodity, a set of signals to be bought and sold.
And the pressure is on us to align our sense of self with the patterns the system rewards.
Authenticity becomes, well, secondary to conforming with profitable behavior.
That sounds exhausting. Which brings us to our final section, just navigating this silent network. If our identities are split like that, it has to have a profound emotional tax.
It absolutely does. We're all maintaining what the sources call networked identities.
You have to be the serious professional on LinkedIn,
The curated artistic soul on Instagram.
the witty political commentator on X.
And none of them are the complete you,
Huh?
but each one requires an active performance.
And the sources really highlight the enormous emotional effort that takes, just maintaining that constant performance.
It's immense. You have to balance vulnerability with privacy, authenticity with what the platform wants. And, the algorithms are always watching, always recording, always comparing every single performance.
The emotional weight of that, of being perpetually assessed, we don't really talk about that.
We don't. And it leads to this profound fragmentation. You feel hyper-connected because you're on 10 different platforms.
But you also feel more isolated than ever.
Because you can never fully reveal the complex, messy truth of who you are. The system promises community, but it often just enforces this performative separation.
And that's the genius and the challenge of the digital oligarchy, isn't it? They've made this incredibly complex system feel natural, almost inevitable.
They have. The silent network resists simple solutions. You can't have a dramatic, visible protest because its power is spread across billions of tiny micro-decisions and constant algorithmic tweaks,
Power concentrates not through orders from on high.
but through the quiet accumulation of our behavioral patterns and our attention.
And politically, discourse flows through channels that reward outrage and division, not democratic ideals.
And we can't just opt out. This infrastructure is now inseparable from the economic and social infrastructure of the world.
Okay, so to summarize this whole deep dive,
Hmm.
we've seen power evolve from the tangible, visible world of factories to the invisible governance of code.
Mm-hmm.
We've explored how information velocity shapes culture through repetition, and how our own identity has been turned into a data double that can determine our real-world chances.
The key takeaway, I think, is this. The digital oligarchy operates not from a visible throne, but through the seamless integration of tech into our lives,
They reshape our world with subtlety.
making surveillance feel like convenience and control feel like personalization. And this system demands, it demands way more than just passive consumption.
We have to recognize the incredible connectivity these systems give us, but also the concentrated power they create. So we want to leave you with one final provocative thought to consider as you navigate your devices today. If your every interaction is being recorded and categorized, and if multiple versions of your identity now coexist out there in the digital ether, where do you locate the center of your true self within this silent network?
And what role will you choose to play as its narrative continues to unfold?